Hello, hello, hello. We are finally on. Sorry that it took a while. It's tax season. Hope everybody is having a wonderful Friday. We're doing things a little different today and going to be in the conference room. This will be just an hour long, just an FYI, because JJ is super busy with tax season. How is everybody doing today? I see people on. I saw some comments, but then they went away. We already got 7 thumbs up. Hi, Italian Eddie Ralph. Coach's Pit Barbecue, hello. Lady Vix, hello. How is everyone doing today? Thank you guys for coming on. We really appreciate it. JJ has been really busy with tax season. Hi, Jean McIntyre. So happy to see you. Hi, coaches. You guys I'm kind of leaning up. I'm not as tall as JJ. Hi, Valerie Clark and Rob. So glad to see you. Thank you guys for tuning in to the reality show last night. If you did not, you should. It was a lot of fun. It was funny. Jason, Darkwater Meg, so glad that you were here. We have missed you. If you guys are not following Darkwater Megs on Instagram and Facebook, you need to, because he's been releasing a lot of stuff. Hi, Glenda. Oh, you got Leah's shirt today. Yay. Yeah, send us some pictures this weekend. Hi, Sharon. Hope that you are doing well and having a great Friday. Hello, yes, JJ is the best. I completely agree. Hi, Kelly Thomas. Thank God it's Friday as always. That's right. Hello, Miguel. Hello from Connecticut. With flying colors. Hello, hello. I hope that you are doing well, and I hope your brother is doing well. We're getting things set up. We're doing things a little different, and we're in the conference room. Hi, Joseph from Florida. Thank you guys for coming on. We really appreciate it. We hope that you are having the best day and the best week. Hi, Karen. I hope that you are doing well. Sorry, I got distracted. There was a big fish that just jumped up in the pond. I wish that we could go the other way. Yes, everybody's chanting for JJ. He's got his drink. Hi, Linda from Maryland. JJ got his drink. Hi, Jess from Washington. Hi, Sharon. Yes, I absolutely agree. He is simply the best. Yes, we never get to come in here and do things, and we did so much decorating. If you guys can see the Captain America shield that I sometimes share on his Instagram and other things is in here. I got that for him, I think 2 years ago. It lights up and everything. It's really cool. 64 people on. Thank you guys so much for coming on. We really appreciate it. JJ is getting things done. They're gonna start chanting for you here shortly. They've had me long enough. They had to deal with me last night on the reality show. They are in need of JJ. All right, you guys, here he is.
Aw, you're very sweet. Get everybody ready. Happy Friday, everybody. So good to see you. Thank you for joining me and Amanda. It is happy hour. I have matching glasses. Hope you will enjoy a cool, refreshing end of the week, Friday afternoon, which means there's 2 more days until Monday to work Friday. So thank you all for coming on. Yeah, this is I've got a kind of even.
No, there's no way we can make that.
Yeah,
stand.
I know.
I can make it stand up on the ground.
No, we'll work with this.
Have good posture.
Yeah, I'll just have to have good posture. Thank you for joining us today. July 10th. Does anybody know what July 10th was supposed to be? Does anybody know? Amanda knows. What was July 10th supposed to be? Let's see. I guess my mouse is not working. Oh, my son uses this and he turned it off, which is so good of him. All right, what do we got here? Where we go? Steven, what's up? Backyard barbecue, what's going on? You know what? Someone's birthday. It's Miguel's birthday. Happy birthday to you. And Gene McIntyre nailed it. We should be on an airplane right now. We should be on an airplane headed to Burbank, but we have postponed. That's what it is. We've just postponed our tour to go out and meet America, so to speak, and help people directly and get involved with some of the businesses like Cindy right there. We were supposed to see Cindy like in 2 days. And with Flying Colors and Coach's Pit Barbecue. And then, yes, I had the tour on my calendar. Good to see you with Flying Colors. And I hope your brother. I hope your brother's doing better. We have thought about him this week, sincerely have. Andre, we will get to some questions in a little bit. Valerie Clark, good to see you. And Rob, of course. And who was first on? We just want to give a quick shout out. Thank you for being first on, Abdul. And we got Mary and Coach's Pit Barbecue. Good to see you. Glenda. Oh gosh, hello party people. I love it. We got Fred and Kathy. What's up? And Marissa. All right, good to see you all. I'm impressed because this is kind of far away and I'm able to read it. My eyes must be honed in. Good evening to you, Fred and Rob, up from our wonderful neighboring state of Kansas. And you said that Leah got her t-shirt today.
Yes, Leah.
Phenomenal.
Send us some pictures this weekend.
Aw, love it. I can't wait. We now know that when you have Leah's 5, right?
I think she
6, just turned 6. When you have a 6-year-old that says money never sleeps, and you've never met a CPA quite like me.
She's 5.
Okay. Then you know you've made it. You really have. Glenda helped me know that we've made it.
Yeah.
Little old CPA from Oklahoma. So what's going on in the world today? You know what? The SBA didn't come out with anything. We scoured right before we went live. Now, if they did, let us know. Rob usually will give us a little heads up. He's kind of like our backstop if something comes out. But nothing new. We know we have the deadline from the IRS. We've got the deadline here where you've got to pay in whatever taxes you owe. But I have a message about that. But you're going to have to pay any taxes that you owe for 2019 on or before, let's see, 11, 12, 13, on or before Wednesday the 15th. I'm going to complete my taxes of PPP forgiveness this weekend. Oh gosh, a double whammy there. And let's see. So with the deadline also comes having to pay in second quarter estimated tax payments. And then we're going to jump to questions. But the thing to note here is that with 2019, I did a video on this. And I came in this morning, I got up at 4 a.m. I was driving in at 5 a.m. And I've been using kind of every minute I can during tax season. Anyways, I recorded a video. Are we releasing it tomorrow?
No, they've already released
Oh, we released it. Okay, good. So anyways, at 5 a.m. went through and kind of talked about some of the tax aspects as it relates to the deadline, but what I went into detail about is setting up a payment plan. And what it comes down to is if you have like 20 grand to your name and you owe 8 grand to the IRS, set up a payment plan. It doesn't lead to an audit. I think if you believe that owing the IRS money or you believe that if you have a payment plan, you're going to get audited, then I also think you might believe that there is a boogie monster underneath your bed, which is just to say, it is okay to have a payment plan, and it's better to have money in your pocket. And I know that when you owe the IRS, yes, there's going to be some penalties and interest, but on an annual basis, it's 15%. Take a look at your credit card bill. I know I've got a Capital One, and I try not to carry a balance on it because it's a 29.99% credit card. Not at all am I advocating it's okay to owe the IRS, but what I am saying is with these uncertain times, if you do owe for 19, it's okay to take a little bit of a breather and allow yourself to retain some of these dollars in your pocket, and then you can pay it off at any time. All right, hey, so what's the word of the day? Here we are Friday, and we've got, basically when we're here at the office, I'm not messing around because this is Johnny Walker Blue right here, and that's because I want to have a wonderful drink with all of you, and I'm so thankful that we have you guys. Now, are you going to have a little bit, or you're not going to have any of the strong? I brought you a glass.
Oh, you did?
I did.
I'll have a little drink.
Okay.
You brought me a glass.
So, what is our word of the day? And if you're new, I'm not an alcoholic, and I don't even say that jokingly. I'm just letting you know that I'm just having a cool one. If having alcohol is something that you don't partake in, guess what? It's cool. Have some water, coffee, a Coke, orange juice. Some of you may still be working. Let's see, on the East Coast, it's 8:15. Probably no one's at a bar. Might be home chilling. But I'm gonna pour some here for Amanda. Has anybody told us what the word of the day is yet?
Oh,
Here we go. I'm way behind. I'm way behind. All right. So the word of the day is what?
blue tops.
Blue tops. Blue tops. What's a blue top?
That is what Jimmy Curtis Everett talked about, and those are tax returns. That is money.
Yeah, so I used to work at a firm in Dallas many, many years ago. I've had my own practice now. I'm in my 24th year, and I worked at Blue Everett. I loved that firm. Downtown Dallas, high-rise, 20th floor. I thought I had arrived driving in traffic to downtown Dallas, and would every day come up over the mountain, or come up over the hill, I should say, and that song, the theme song from the show Dallas, played in my head every day, and I had to pay for parking, and I loved it, and they had a dry cleaners in my building, and I worked for Jimmy Curtis Everett, and he said it just that way, and he told me my first tax season, he brought me into the conference room, or no, it was the copy room, and he said, let me show you something real quick. You see that over there? That is a desk with a pile of money on it. And I started work when I was 21 years old. So I graduated college a year early, graduated high school a year early. Anyway, so I'm young and I'm looking at it and I'm thinking, there must be money in these folders. And so anyways, he knew that I didn't quite get it. And he said, you see those? Those are blue tops. And when we get blue tops out the door, that means money's coming in the door. So we want to get blue tops. And so blue tops is code word for get in returns out the door. So you may have heard I'm up at 4 a.m. Amanda said we're going to go for an hour. And what we want to try and do is get to all the questions. Real quick, I see that we've got John on. If you want to start perusing, give me 1 minute to I want to just say hi to everybody. Cindy, I said hi. And we've got Dax and Patty B. Thank you so much. And then we've got Italian Eddie Ralph. I'm loving that. And Lady Vix. Let's see. And Valerie Clark and Glenda and Darkwater Megs. So wonderful to see you. And we've got Sharon. And let's see. Ralph. Oh, gosh. I know that sometimes this isn't your name, so I'm sorry if I butcher it, but Rashpal, thank you for being on. And Kelly Thomas and Miguel and Joseph Brown. And we've got Karen, CPA, Karen with a C, okay? And we've got Linda G, and we've got Jess, and let's see, and AJ, what's going on? And Andre, thank you so much for being on. And Glenda and Leah, we talked. And so good to see that Steven's on. I felt terrible. I felt terrible, but Backyard Barbecue, I was supposed to log into their books with Vernita. I guess is today Friday, so it was Wednesday. And I'm up and I'm going to that 7:30 meeting and I'm like, what was I even thinking? So anyways, I hope that I will be able to log in soon, as in you'll let me. But anyways, let's see. And oh gosh, it just went down. So we got B-Funk Style and 115 J-Nut and Cinnamon Rush and Theo and Mike. What's going on? Mike was on the webinar that we did that's on the YouTube channel now, that we did with Myers, with Hugh Myers. So thanks for being on, Mike. I saw that you had commented at the end, but then we got shut down. So anyways, and then we've got Maria and Fred. Thank you so much, y'all. Do you have some questions ready to go?
Yep.
I'll try and get through them. Steve, good to see you. Thank you, Mike.
All right.
Blue Tops.
This is from Marissa. I was looking at George's girlfriend.
George's girlfriend is a bird.
And this is from Marissa. I'm approaching forgiveness soon. Should I wait until the SBA comes out with their FAQs to apply? A lot of unclear rules concerning owners of S Corps with retirement benefits. What are your thoughts?
So what I'm telling clients is I want us to wait at least about 12 weeks, which means that you'll easily have 12 weeks of payroll in there, maybe even 14. I'm taking kind of a strategy here where I want my clients to try and use up as much of that 40% threshold for non-payroll as possible, because when we go to do our tax returns, the PPP is going to offset the expenses that the PPP covered that we then put in for forgiveness. So I want my clients to have the least amount of payroll washed away. So by also there being 12 weeks, it's going to be probably 3 to 4 months worth of rent and utilities and interest. So for those that have employees, I'm thinking a 12-week mark is good. I did talk about it in one of the videos that we released either yesterday or today, that you can do it at any time. Amanda was indicating that some of you who have been gracious enough to watch and comment on my videos yesterday and today, that some of the banks are saying they're not going to be taking applications until August, but you can still get them done. And I'm kind of interested to see how that process initially goes. There's 3 banks around here that I'm working with that have indicated that they're ready. And from the standpoint of the S Corp, I think they actually pretty well nailed it down in the latest SBA guidelines that came out, because they got real specific about the S Corp owner as well as the C Corp owner, and the self-employed and the partners, specific to health insurance and retirement benefits. And it is clear for S Corp owners that it is only going to be the wages, and it'll be up to $100,000 or the lesser of what the owner employee was paid in 2019. Get to divide that by 12 times 2.5, which leads to that $20,833 figure. And the reason that the health insurance is not an add-on to that is that the SBA said very specifically that health insurance is supposed to be included in wages of the S Corp owner. So in a backdoor way, the wages that include the health insurance Well, health insurance is being included. It's just as wages. But the the retirement plan, they did make it clear, like crystal, that it is in addition to the compensation for owner employees, and it is whatever was done for 2019. So whatever that match was, that employer paid benefit for the owner employee, whatever it was paid for 2019, divide that by 12 times 2.5. That's the max that can be used. So I don't know that you need to wait on the FAQs as it relates to that issue. I do think that there is a sentiment out there when you're reading some articles that, well, hurry and go and get forgiveness until they change their mind on something. And I get that strategy. But it does seem at this point, the last couple of months, when more information has come out, it's made it easier, it's made it better. But I don't know how much easier it gets now with the EZ. So you can still go ahead and prepare your PPP forgiveness application, of course, and get it ready to go. I do think they're probably, it's gonna be like anything. First ones in are gonna have probably a more stringent time, and they're gonna spend more time looking at it. So with my clients, not that it's a strategy, but it's almost like, the banks that first accepted PPP applications to get funding, they're still trying to figure it out. They asked for way too much information. And so I've just told my clients, let's not be first in. Let's let the banks kind of figure this out. And then when we finally go to put the applications in, then they're going to have it a little more figured out, and we're going to ensure full forgiveness. So I kind of think a sweet spot's around 12 weeks, assuming that you've used it all up. And yes, I do see the Divine Universe Academy. We see your question. Amanda sees it. We'll get to that one too.
This is from Andre. As a self-employed, I received a PPP loan. My question is, I know I can use that money to pay myself, but the question is, can I withdraw all at once, or do I have to do over the course of 10 weeks?
So if you're self-employed, it's not even that you get to pull it out all at once or extrapolate it out. It's just a calculation, and it is the same for the owner employees. It doesn't have to be paid out over a period of time. And the reason for that, for the owner employees and the self-employed, is that it's just the calculation. Now you do actually, for the owner employees, you do actually have to pay out that payroll, but you could do it all at one time. But for the self-employed, your automatic forgiveness, the video I did where, did you post the one I did it in the middle of the night? Mm-hmm. And I hold the camera and I show you how to fill out the EZ. Well, for the self-employed, you can get your funds and immediately fill out that PPP forgiveness app if the bank will take it, and you can use that money all at one time. So good question on that. And Andre, if you need it, get it.
This is from John. What if clients show higher Schedule C revenues and profits 2020 versus 2019 and got PPP forgiveness?
So if they show higher profits in 2020, my understanding is, though, that the only way you could base your PPP loan on 2020 is if you were not in business in 2019. And if you are then applying for forgiveness, you're going to have to go based on the 2019. As you know, what'll be interesting though is for those that prepared the PPP application based on 2018, we know that it's going to be different there. So I think the SBA's pretty well put it down that it's going to be based on 19. The only way it's not is if you weren't in business. And then I know that there's, seasonal that can come into play there. But from my perspective, on the self-employed, I think that the rules have gotten so easy that if it's seasonal, then your application should have been based on the season anyways. And I think that you'll still achieve that full forgiveness. Was that John Hamilton or John Jasper?
John Jasper.
John Jasper. Boom, blue tops.
Sharon, can I use my PPP to pay my 2019 taxes? And do I print and mail my PPP forgiveness
No, you're not able to use the PPP funds or the EIDL monies, just as an FYI, for your taxes because it is considered a debt to the government that is a personal debt. And even though it may feel like, well, it's because I have the business, it's just clear we can't use it for the individual income taxes. Now, of course, we know PPP can be used to pay the taxes that are withheld from our employees, including the taxes that are withheld from your wages, but we're not able to do the income tax. And then what was the second part of that? It was, yes, but I would check with your lender. I would almost be of the school of thought that if your lender is saying they don't want the forgiveness applications until August, get it ready to go. And if they have a mailing address, send it to them. If they have an email address, send it to them. And here's why. You're in essence putting a stop on then the requirements that might be imposed on you while you have PPP open. So what am I talking about that on the employers? We know that until you put in the application for forgiveness, you have to make sure that you're tracking your FTEs and the reduction in any of your employees' pay. But once you put in that application, you're done. So I think there can be a strategy in a good way to go ahead and send it, and you can show proof that you had sent that. Someone just put up there that the EIDL's closed again? Jeez.
Yeah.
It is?
I don't know.
Okay. I looked last night because I read something on the Oklahoma grant website that EIDL was closed, but then when I went to the SBA website, it was open, but that was last night. So, well, I hope it's not closed. What I am predicting is that it's going to close at any time. I've been saying that, of course, but it had way less funds. I mean, PPP got 660 billion and EIDL ultimately got 20 billion. So I do think that PPP, as we know, has been extended to August 8th. I think that what will happen with those unused dollars is that they'll get converted potentially over into the SBA to provide some of that EIDL. Thank you, PB. I appreciate that. Boom. Really, really appreciate that so much. Got that wonderful card from you, Blue Tops.
All right, give me just a second. It froze on me.
115 J-Nut.
Okay.
Salute.
Is this from Spyro? Can I use any 8 weeks when I use a 24-week period? For example, can I use the last 8 weeks in the 24-week period to pay myself on the self-employed Schedule C?
Well, here's what I know, and here's why. It's even better than that. So it's like a good no. It's like a beautiful no. It's like a glorious thing for the self-employed. The PPP is not taxable to you. Boom, you probably knew that. The other part is that it is not going to reduce down your expenses on your Schedule C for 2020. Boom. So you may have not even thought of that, or a lot of people hadn't thought of that yet, but for employers that have employees that got PPP, whatever that employer uses is going to reduce down their otherwise deductible expenses. But as a self-employed, you just get it all at once. There's no provision, and believe it or not, under the 24-week option that it has anything to do with 24 weeks for you as a self-employed. Kind of sounds weird, but what's specific from the SBA is that the self-employed can pick, and here's what they call it, the 24-week option. How do you elect that option? Well, on your PPP forgiveness application, when it asks for your covered period, you're going to put down the date that you got your PPP funds, and then you're going to show the end date of 24 weeks. That does not mean, though, that it took you 24 weeks to pay it out, or that you have to then be subjective to the rules for 24 weeks. But Bottom line is that you don't even have to pick because it's immediately forgivable. If you're trying to kind of pick the weeks because of PUA, here's how I look at it. It was meant for 8 weeks. The states are the ones that are going to determine this. I think at worst, your first 8 weeks of PPP potentially are the ones that disrupt PUA, but no states are even doing that except 2. So I think just follow the state guidelines and don't worry about the weeks. Just pull it now. No reason to control it. Better to get it over. Someone said that they wanted a shout out to their wife, Steph. I've been getting in trouble for watching too much JJ. Well, let me tell you this, Bobby the Painting, I tell you what, why don't you send us an email at jj@jjthecpahelp.com, jj@jjthecpahelp.com. Maybe Amanda will put that in there. You put in there, Bobby, what is it? It's far away. Bobby Try Painting. Okay, Bobby Try Painting, Steph, put that in there. And I don't have any glossies, okay, but we're gonna send you a koozie. Do we have any koozies in here? We might have to grab a koozie. So we're gonna send you a koozie. Amanda will grab that in a couple of minutes, where it is me and Amanda. So Steph, you'll be able to see that this is a whole, it's a whole family affair. So thank you for letting Bobby watch JJ the CPA, me. Hopefully it's bringing relief all around. So thank you so much. My CPA ain't like you. Well, hey, I appreciate that. And next week, Amanda's been working really hard on this. We've been hinting about it for a while. Thank you, Christine. Thank you so much. We've been hinting around this for a while. But we are going to be releasing, I've been waiting for, thank you, Rob. JJ the CPA is not like anybody, and that is good. I really appreciate that, Rob. But we're going to be releasing where I've been really hesitant about it because I want to get us through the crisis. I feel like we're there. I know that the numbers are going up, and so I meant a crisis like we were of an unknown, but I've not been wanting to sell any of my services. And whoops, looks like this thing,
Is it not working?
well, didn't seem like it was. We're running low on battery here, so I don't want to run out. But all right, Kathleen, thank you so much for that. I really appreciate that compliment. And Kathleen Babcock, JJ has helped me much over the last few months. I really appreciate that. I'm glad that I do. Elizabeth, I need a consult slot, pretty please. So what we're gonna do is we have a website. We're gonna be releasing it next week, and you'll be able to go to it. Amanda has revamped the website. It's not even up yet, the revamped website. Now this is the JJ, the CPA website, not the community service website. The community service website is jjthecpahelp.com, which is nothing's for sale on that. You got it? It's not lit up.
Okay, so it's that.
There we go. Okay. All I'm saying is this. I'm going to offer not my tax services, as in I'm not going to be preparing tax returns. I'm not taking on new clients to do tax work, to do tax preparation work. But at the same rates that I'm charging my clients, so I'm not charging a higher rate than what I'm charging my clients. And well, I take it back, I'm charging less. I'm charging less. New clients that I started bringing in a few years ago, I'm not even charging that much. I just realized that. The rate I'm charging is for the clients that I've had for 23 years. Long story short, you'll be able to consult with me. We've got a couple of different ways. Is it a 45-minute call?
30-minute, 45, and 90. Are you talking about for the planning or the
It's 3? We're still working on it. How about that? There is?
Mm-hmm. One is just...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
One's 30-minute.
That's for the EIDL. PPP.
Okay. 30 minutes for the EI. Okay. You know what? We should wait till next week. Amanda just showed it all to me right before we went live. I'm excited. We've been talking about this for a long time, but we wanted to get through the pandemic. So anyways, long story short, I look forward to those that might need some one-on-one, and I don't even know why I'm bashful about it, Amanda. It's just that you can hire me. I'll just put it that way. You can hire me to do some consulting with you. It won't be the the cheesy ass, I'm your coach. No. I don't know why. I think people that are a coach are people that don't have other credentials. I don't even mean that as a cap. I'm a CPA. You can hire me to be your CPA for 30 minutes or 45 or an hour and a half. And we are going to, we're just going to.
I'm not hiring you as their CPA because that is unethical. So.
For the hour, for the 45 minutes, I'll be their CPA for 45 minutes. But we are also going to, I think we're going to launch, or we're going to put this out there. We'll see if it works. I mean, see if anybody wants to do it. But just going to do a group of 10 businesses and just be a monthly fee that I think is pretty low. But what'll make it good for me is that if we're able to do 10 businesses all at once, so it'd be a weekly call for 90 minutes with me and these 10 business owners. And it would be a Zoom call that we would record and send out. And I would, in that 90 minutes, I would hit 3 subjects, and it would be me providing some consultation of here's what I'm doing, here's how clients are taking advantage of this. And I don't mean like in other services. I'm talking about financial statements and how to get a loan, and it's time to now think about this. And so because I work with small businesses, what it's meant to be is, what am I talking about my clients that week? Well, that's what I'm talking about with this group of 10 for 90 minutes. And then I think every 4 weeks, it's a 30-minute one-on-one. And then, basically it's whoever we're doing it with, we just want a 3-month commitment to see if it works. I know it'll work, but I just mean to see if there's the interest in it. Because I'll put a lot of time and effort into it, more than just the 90 minutes a week. And isn't this kind of weird? I feel like I'm having to over-explain it, and I shouldn't do that, because I don't do that. Whenever if somebody wants to hire me, which I'm not available to be hired for tax work, I don't hem-haw around it at all. Someone just says, hey, I want to hire you. I'm like, okay. All right, what's the next question? And I wasted, if you can call it that, I spent like 7 minutes talking about myself, so we have to extend our hour by 7 minutes. Amanda's already shaking her head. All right, what other questions we have? Thank you, Elizabeth. I really appreciate that.
FYI,
Blue tops.
FYI, the portal is down for maintenance. It doesn't say how long it will be down, but it went down this Friday afternoon for maintenance, and they will not be able to accept it. So that's why it's down there.
SBA.
The EIDL.
It's down for maintenance.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's probably a good way for them to try and catch up and go, okay, we've put all these offers out, because I know with the SBA, they say, hey, here's an amount, do you want to accept it? And then there's a period of time that you can decide if you want to accept it or not. So they probably have a lot of outstanding offers. So if you've been offered it, then decide if you want it so that they can get through this. What other questions do we have?
And this is from Matt. Does filing an extension for October make it more likely that I get audited? I'm a single member LLC. Actually,
statistically, it reduces your chance to be audited by filing an extension. And I'll tell you a little secret. 100% of my clients that own a business, every single business, whether we are done with the return, tick-tied, it's done. We extend it and do not e-file them till September 1, period. Individuals, if we can extend, we do. Now, it doesn't extend your time to pay. Here's who gets audited, okay? Scarface. That's who sends out a red flag. And you know why they send out a red flag? Because they're on social media driving a Lamborghini and they're showing off and they're, putting the birdie up to the IRS. So watch my video that I released today. You'll know it's the one I released or that I shot today, because I started out by holding up my phone that says 5 a.m. as I'm going into the office, because I talk a lot about the myth of the audit. So no, extend. Just know that an extension is not an extension of time to pay.
Irma, as a subcontractor and I pay myself, what expenses can I report for my PPP forgiveness? So you may tell her about your video you've done.
So what was the question?
As a subcontractor,
Oh,
I pay
subcontract.
myself, what expenses can I report for my PPP forgiveness?
Okay. So if you're a subcontractor, you're filing a Schedule C, you just are using your Schedule C. You're taking line 31 of your Schedule C, divide it by 12 times 2.5. That's what it is. Now, if for whatever reason you're not doing that method, you're crazy. You need to just do the 24-week option, which is simply now taking line 31 divided by 12 times 2.5. But to answer the question, for the self-employed, you're able to use rent in the business name, utilities in the business name, loans in the business name or for business use, as well as then gas in your vehicle. And if you go to jjthecpahelp.com, I've got a page for the self-employed forgiveness. It says SC forgiveness on it, and I've got a detailed list there for you, as well as a link to some videos. But just do that option and you're good to go. Italian Eddie Ralph. I'm loving this.
Will the PPP loan amount for self-employed business owners affect a healthcare subsidy as an income total?
No, because it is a loan just like anything else. So it's not reportable as income. It doesn't reduce down your expenses, meaning you're going to have to pay it back. So it does not affect PUA. Doesn't affect unemployment, it's not considered income, and it would not affect your health care subsidy or health care credit. And I want to see what kind of shoes that gentleman wears, because I guarantee they are phenomenal.
This one is from Fred.
Hey Fred, what's going on?
Can a person use a capital loss on their personal resident against any long-term capital gains? Her CPA is taking it off, and I Googled it, and it clearly says it is not eligible as a loss or an onset or offset of other capital gains.
Correct. The sale of a residence is a personal loss, if that is the case, and it's not considered capital because it wasn't held for investment. You've been a wonderful financial advisor for many, many years. And I enjoy our conversations via email, Fred. And so you know what you're talking about there. And the loss doesn't help you in any way. There is a tax if the gain is over $500,000, married filing jointly over $250,000, and it's taxed as a capital gain. But that doesn't necessarily at all allow for the loss to now be considered capital. And that might be a common misconception, but I agree with you. It's pretty clear that you can't. I answered that quicker than you thought, didn't I?
Yes. I don't know how to pronounce this, so I apologize. We're just going to ask the question. As a tax preparer, tax prep courses and programs for this year and next year, EIDL can be used. Can they use it, I guess, to
Oh, can you use it to take courses
and to get programs?
And to get programs? I'm going to say yes to that. It's an ongoing expense. Now, I'd probably, if you're gonna buy a tax program, the reason I think it would be okay is that the software is going to have to be renewed every year, and I'm not even saying that to be cheeky. I'm just saying that it's an annual software cost. So I have an annual software cost. I would be able to use that. It's an ongoing expense. And then for training courses, CPE, things to that effect, that's an ongoing expense. So I don't think it at all falls in a category of an asset as defined by the SBA. So awesome, I love it.
All right, the Divine University e-account.
Yes.
I applied 329 EIDL S Corp, 1 employee, 10 years in business, no revenue. Got a grant, but SBA keeps requesting same tax documents. I deserve increase. How can I escalate it?
So when you say no revenue, I'm assuming you say no net revenue. So what you probably want to be sure of, if I'm understanding the question correctly, is that when you're reporting your revenue to the SBA, and maybe I'm just not understanding the question, but you want to report what your gross is, gross revenues, of course, and then when it asks for your cost of goods sold, that is your overhead expenses that are directly attributable. So for the S Corp owner, you'd want to look at what are the expenses that you're expending in the business that are directly related to that revenue, right? So as an S Corp owner, you might be running expenses through that are deductible, but not necessarily attributable to the direct earning of that revenue. So all I'm trying to say is, I don't think there's any rhyme or reason to it. I've had clients that they're showing a loss, so they got EIDL. I've got clients that, you know, they're showing 800,000 of revenue and 400,000 of expenses, and they got 23,000 EIDL. I've got clients that they're grossing 300,000 and they got 150,000 EIDL. Clients that don't have any credit to speak of, can't even get a car loan, getting EIDL. So there doesn't even seem to be any rhyme or reason. I'm just telling you in general, I would tell clients, you know, put down what you grossed and then just put down the expenses that I would kind of more consider like either your cost of goods sold, as in, you know, like if you were at Imagine That Toys, it would be your inventory cost and then rent and utilities and your overhead costs, and not necessarily have to be travel costs and your cell phone and things to that effect. But I don't even think that matters. That's what I was telling clients in the very beginning when I had no definition from the SBA of what cost of goods sold was. So I was actually trying to be conservative. I wanted my clients to put expenses down, not just cost of goods sold, because when you're working with a client and all they have is service, they don't have any cost of goods sold. So I was telling my clients, it's like, well, you do have some costs. Anyways, in terms of follow-up, I would just call them. If you've got your confirmation number, give them a call, and they've been very helpful. I don't know that I've come across one person that came away, unless they were just already belligerent and already upset and already thought the person they were talking to on the phone directly caused the problem that they have. But I've heard great things about the SBA. So I'd stay after it to get an answer. Someone said that they got denied for EIDL. You can still get the grant, but if you haven't gotten it by now and you got the denial, you may not get it. They seem to, on the self-employed, not be giving out the grant because it's $1,000 per employee, up to 10 employees or up to 10,000, and they're not considering the self-employed an employee. So it doesn't seem that the grant at all is being given to the self-employed. Good question.
Linda,
Blue top.
as owners of S Corp, listen to someone in the beginning, gave ourselves and some employees raises, quarantined other employees 32 hours work week, then found out we shouldn't have given ourselves a raise. Any suggestions?
Yeah, I mean, this is what, who is this?
Linda.
Linda?
Linda.
Linda, okay. Yeah, this is one of those things I talked about from the beginning, and that's kind of where Coach came out initially. If you've watched any of my videos, we've got Coach, and that's where I kind of get on a certain subject and really try and lay down a hardline position. And that was one of the things, which was to not give yourself a raise. And it wasn't so much that you couldn't give yourself a raise, it was just, it's not going to count. You're going to have to pay it back because you may exceed it. But remember this, that with the 24-week option, okay, if you did give yourself a raise, you might be okay from the standpoint of you take your 2019 payroll to yourself divided by 12 times 2.5. That's providing a larger amount to be included in the forgiveness amount. What we had to deal with before was whatever last year's was divided by 52 times 8 weeks. What this is allowing now is basically 2.5 months, which is spreading it into a larger figure. So it is whatever you actually paid yourself. It's no more than 2019 divided by 12 times 2.5. And then of course, no more than 100,000 on an annual basis. So you might end up being okay there. And all I can say as well is that if you're in the 24-week period or option, well, you should have the opportunity to include now more rent and more utilities and things to that effect. But at the end of the day, you got the money. You may have to pay back some of it, but I do feel like by giving yourself more time to gather up the expenses that you're already paying, that's how it really won't be something that you have to pay back. I don't know, so thank you for that question. I don't think I showed, was it Bobby and Steph? Mm-hmm. Bobby and Steph. So send us an email. I don't know if this is going in very clear.
Yeah, it is.
It's clear? Mm-hmm. So this is the JJ, the CPA, and the Amanda koozie. And I think, are we selling these now?
We are selling them, and we have hats and t-shirts.
We have hats and t-shirts.
Oh, you mean
well, I can go get a hat. You want to say hi to everybody? Okay. We got a hat. Do we got any t-shirts here? We have hats and t-shirts. Okay, so probably if you asked a question, we'll get back to it while we're here. Says, and so I'm not cutting in line here, but 115 JNUT, what information do you have for rideshare drivers and the PPP loan? Can we use the money for car rentals to continue our rideshare business? So if you are, oh goodness, I get to wear it. Look at this. I don't know about, this is like a girl's hat.
It is not.
What?
It's a trucker's hat.
It's a girl's hat.
It is not.
What are you talking about?
That is a boy's hat.
We didn't even properly shape it.
That's because it's waiting. Now somebody, you guys, you have an opportunity to purchase a hat that JJ the CPA has put on and shaped. So.
All right, here we go.
Get those.
Here we go. So JJ, we only have 9 of these.
No, we only have 4.
We only have 4?
Yeah.
Well, I was winking at you because I couldn't remember if we actually only had 9. You're saying we only have 4 of these?
We only have 4 left.
And I'll come back to that question. We have, this is now straight up limited edition. We have JJ the CPA and the Amanda. We are still selling these to raise money for our travel that we were supposed to start today. We are going to do it. Why is it in a limited edition? Well, first of all, we didn't plan to print any more than the 100.
Yeah.
But this is where we were supposed to be going. As you can see, we've postponed the tour. The JJ and Amanda reality show tour, where we're touring around to help businesses that we're already working with, meet with them. What we're trying to highlight in this reality show, which you can catch every Thursday night, we premiere a new one. We have a playlist. It's called The Reality Show. What's the reality show? It's to show small business owners you're not alone, that everybody's going through the same things. Now, for 115 JNUT, if you're self-employed and you got the PPP, take line 31. Thank you, Linda. Take line 31 of Schedule C. You're done. You're completely done. You're done. You don't even have to worry about how you use the money, right? So you can use it really for whatever you want. That's business. So the answer to your question is yes, you can use it for that because you're needing it for business. But it's not even that that's a wink wink, because that is different from those that are employers. It's just simply this. Line 31 of your Schedule C divided by 12 times 2.5, which is the exact same calculation of how you determine how much PPP money you got is your forgiveness. So you are absolutely, boom, able to use it for whatever you want. I think you could even go a step further and just, I can use it for whatever I want. I think, though, it has to be used for your business expenses. I don't think that you could be using it to pay income taxes and things to that effect. But to be honest with you, I don't know how they're regulating that. It just seems like that's what the PPP money is for. It's for business expenses, which that would include. All right, hey, I skipped ahead just because I wanted to keep it going.
And this is from
Thank you, Rob.
our wonderful friend Rob. And there was some senators that introduced a bill to simplify PPP loan forgiveness for small businesses on June 30th. Do you think it has a chance of getting passed for automatic forgiveness?
Yes. I think and I appreciate that. I think that, I think a lot of us, and Rob, you and I might have been talking about that. Heck, it might have even been when we were having breakfast together. Back in the good old days when we got to see people face to face, but we went up to see Rob and Gwen in Wichita, Kansas. They are a family-owned business. Gwen started Imagine That Toys in Wichita, Kansas over 13 years ago. Rob and Gwen's mom, Rob is Gwen's dad. Anyways, they joined the business, I think 4 or 5 years ago. Of course, Gwen and her husband Al have been running it from the beginning, but they're all involved. All to say, we talked about a lot of good stuff, enjoyed that. They are part of the reality show, and I think we've been talking about this maybe since the beginning, or I have, that I think they're gonna just lead to, hey, it's a certain dollar amount, boom, it's forgiven. I do think, though, the EZ is as easy as can be, and so I actually think that we could see some automatic, but what I feel like the Treasury Secretary will do is to say, well, how much easier can we make it? Because the EZ is, you're taking line 31, you're dividing by 12. So here's what I'm saying. I think that it could be that way for the self-employed. I don't know that it'll be that way for employers. I think for the self-employed, first of all, the max you could include was 100,000 divided by 12 times 2.5. So it's already a huge low threshold. On the other hand, I do feel like that what the easy forgiveness application could be for the self-employed is just what's your Schedule C, line item 31 divided by 12 times 2.5, what's your loan, the difference, if it's different, you're gonna have to pay it back or it's forgiven. That would be the part where it would be almost near automatic. I do think they would still require some paperwork. They just need to kind of close it out, number one. Number two, I think that there were a number of individuals, small business owners, that were filing Schedule C that honestly they got too much. They were basing it on their gross or on their 1099s, or they were getting loans based on 1099s that they gave out. So I think that we're gonna see another level of easy, but here's my whole thing. I think it'll be after the process of these applications has started, when the government's like, wow, we knew there were a lot of applications, but wow, this is a lot of applications. Holy moly, the amount of work and time and effort that never has been needed before, right? This is a new government responsibility. That, think of how many agents it's going to require that are of the SBA to just go through these applications and approve them, go through the documentation. And that's then where I think something will come into play. And I think at the time that it'll also come into play is when I think they do potentially some other round of PPP. And at that time they go, okay, hey, we're gonna do more PPP money. It'll be for those that already got it, but that are smaller employers. And then, oh, by the way, we're gonna introduce this next level of easiness to get forgiven, because it'll be at the time that they're now providing more money that's gonna have to have new applications. So I see it coming. I just think it'll be a while. I think, they're getting ready to go on recess. So we know that'll cause there to be a delay. And I think that's part of why they kicked the can to August 8th in some ways. So thank you for that, Rob. Blue tops, we're gonna go 10 more minutes. I've got still a few clients that are waiting on how much they have to write a check for. Rob, thank you.
This is from Joseph. I only have Schedule E and Schedule F on my tax return. Can I sign up for the PPP and or EIDL loan?
So the PPP can be based on Schedule F. For the first time, the SBA recognized Schedule F in their latest SBA guidelines. I've been saying it from the beginning, but only Schedule F if it's been subject to self-employment tax, meaning it's not farm rental, which could be, technically it goes on Form 4835, but many put it on Schedule F. If it has net income, it qualifies for PPP. What would be the amount? Well, it'd be whatever the net income is for 2019 divided by 12 times 2.5. But if it has a loss, then you wouldn't, but it'd only be because it's a loss. Now, for EIDL, yes, you would be able to apply for both. And I would say, though, if you are operating with no EIN, then you would put in an EIDL, in my opinion, on one of those businesses because you're only going to get one EIDL. I would pick whatever business you feel is going to need the most help. It might be the agricultural. And if you have separate tax ID numbers, then I would do, because you're allowed to, and actually they ask for this, they will consider the EIDL based on the tax ID number, assuming that they are truly different businesses. I know we're going to get to some other questions. Let's make sure that we at least hit Blue Line Tax and Accounting Services before we wrap up. But what other questions do we have? Blue tops, which means tax returns out the door.
Joseph Kelly III. I'm doing the Solar Energy Safe Harbor Act for the 30% discount on my 2019 tax return. Have you performed any of these?
You know, I haven't because I live in Oklahoma. We just got electricity last year. We haven't got into the solar world at all. Just to be honest with you, I haven't dealt with it. I'm familiar with it. But each one of these credits that are out there, what I can say in general on that is that you want to have the documentation from the manufacturer or the rep, and I don't mean the salesperson, but the company that's repping them. There should be some kind of documentation, certification. I know like with Tesla and some of the other geothermal, heat and air units, that there's a certification that comes with it. So I would make sure that you're getting that. Those credits are, and I don't want to say it from the standpoint of then just do it even if you didn't do it, but I'm just saying any credit I've ever taken on any of that stuff in my entire career, even though I've not dealt specifically with that one, they've never been questioned. I think if they do get questioned, you'll just have to provide the proof that you bought it, and then they're gonna wanna see some documentation, some certification that it met all the criteria. So if you're doing that, have them do the heavy lifting for you by them putting that together, showing you where it is, having them show you. So if they just say, oh, well, it qualifies, check with your tax advisor, you can say, well, that's cool. But if it qualifies, then your company should be able to provide me the information to easily show. So what I'm also telling you is that all the clients that have had those big tax credits, I got documentation that they got from the seller of it. And I don't mean they just typed it up on a letter, that talked about the code section, talked about where you apply for it. So most of the time that stuff's not cheap. Make them earn it by getting you that proper documentation. And then I'll just say this, most of the time to take the credit's pretty easy. They flow all into Form 3800 that then, for the most part, for the business and these energy credits, and then boom, it reduces down your tax dollar for dollar. So get comfortable with it, and then with your tax professional, give them that documentation. And more what you're just saying is, hey, do you agree that I'm going to get a tax credit for this? Now, tax credits will be only to the extent of your tax. So if your tax is $10,000 and your credit is $30,000, you're only going to realize a $10,000 credit. Now, some of the credits do carry over, some don't. So that's why I want you to make the seller of that do some homework for you. And if they're just going to tell you, well, we don't deal with that, you'll have to check with your tax advisor, gee golly, then it probably doesn't have a tax credit with it that's legit, because it should just be easy for them to give you that information, and they should want to, because it helps them sell it to you.
All right, Blue Line, quick question. Can a single member S Corp owner who received PPP based off of the EE wages still qualify for PUA?
Yeah, I think that, Blue Lines, so here's just my thought, one professional to another. For 8 weeks, no, they don't qualify for PUA. That when they got PPP, assuming that they've already got it before the 24-week option, but they get the money based on 8 weeks, right, of payroll, 2 months of payroll. So you take your monthly average times 2.5, which is meant to be 2 months of payroll. So I think with an owner and employee, I think it's just a gut. It's just what smells right to me. It seems like, the spirit of the deal. I feel like for an owner employee, they got their wages, they're getting those forgiven. It's supposed to last 8 weeks. So I would say to them, even if they would qualify, I would tell my client, no, if you're asking my opinion, no, you don't qualify for PUA for 8 weeks because you got PPP and it's to last you 8 weeks. Now for the self-employed, I feel differently about that because it's based on your net. It's not based on pay. So anyways, good question on that. And blue tops, we got time for what, two, 3 more? Or did we already cover them all?
No. Is the PPP only, or this is luxury bath northwest of Washington and Oregon. Is the PPP only for employees or can the employer be included? I'm the employer and received the PPP for my employees 2 months ago, but now I'm wondering if I should reapply for myself.
It does include you. It is based, though, on actual W-2 wages that you paid yourself in 2019. Do look carefully, but I don't believe you're able to go back and get more unless you're a partnership and you are a partner that didn't include your guaranteed payments or self-employed income in the partnership PPP application to get it. But I don't take that as you can't, I don't think you can, okay? But guess what? The real answer will be with the bank that you got the PPP funds with. So I know without a shadow of a doubt, you get to include yourself to the extent of your wages that you paid yourself in 2019. That's without a doubt, you get to include that. Going back to get more, I don't believe you can, but check with your bank, because if you can, you should. And you can tell the bank, listen, I didn't know that I can include it. I can. Can I go back and reapply? And hopefully you can. So good luck on that. Try, because that's what it was meant for.
I'm just giving a quick little shout out to Sharon for her sweet comment, because she says, I just love the relationship you both have.
Aww.
That's awesome. I'm very new and I'm stuck on your YouTube channel.
Well, thank you, and welcome to this wonderful family. With flying colors, she calls us Uncle JJ and Auntie Amanda, and we do go live Mondays and Fridays to try and answer questions direct, and we try and just help people. Linda G, PUA is Pandemic Unemployment Assistance. It's the federal level of unemployment. It's $600 a week if you qualify, but you have to get it through your state unemployment office.
John Jasper, if a client only pays a fraction of amount owed with an extension, or will the extension get rejected?
You know what's interesting on that, John? When I first started practicing, and similar to you, so I know where that thought process comes into play, because back in 1993, for an extension to actually count, you had to pay in your safe harbor amount, which was the 90%. And I don't know when it switched, but I do know this, that the extension counts even if they don't pay in a dime and owe $1 million. And because you know this, right? It's just giving them an extension of time to file. But I do know that if they pay at least 90% of whatever their tax is ultimately going to be, that even if they then file in October and then they owe, meaning that little fraction, the IRS may send out a penalty on it, but you should be able to get that client out of that penalty if they can make it. So I know that's opposite of what you were asking, but the short answer is, yeah, even if they don't pay any. So I will tell you this, we filed extensions on everybody who hadn't completed their return on July 1. And in the past, John, we would have to spend all this time figuring out what was their tax liability estimated, what did they withhold, or what did they pay in, what's the estimated tax due, are they paying 90%? I remember those days, and even though the Form 4868 still has all that information on there, the extension will be accepted and stick no matter what.
Maureen?
Blue tops, by the way.
I have a virtual assistant that does a lot of work for me. Can I use her fee towards my PPP?
If she's a W-2 employee, which most VAs are not, but they do have to be a W-2 employee for it to count.
I didn't know if you want me to keep going.
Yeah, I'll try and just answer. I'll just try and be quicker with my answers.
Mr. Ski, so I heard I can get PUA for my side hustle even though I'm still working full-time at my job. Is that true?
I don't think that it is, and when you go to apply would be the real way to get that answer because every state's different, but it seems what's consistent state to state is that you are going to have to list who your employer is and you will have to list who you're working for, and I think that puts you in the automatic reject pile because you're still making your regular pay. I think initially there was the thought process that would be the case, but when you go through the application process, but I will tell you this, if you're working full-time and your side hustle, made up a significant amount of your income in terms of what you're relying on, go try. You might make your employer aware because every state, as far as I know, will contact your current employer to let them know you're claiming unemployment. So you'd want to make your employer aware of what you're doing and why, because that could be what gets you in a snafu, would be more your employer saying, what are you doing?
Saundersburg Motel, can an LLC member take W-2 wages? LLC has 2 members.
What kind of entity is it?
LLC member take W wages.
So here's the thing about an LLC. It's a chameleon. An LLC can be taxed as anything, so I would need to know how you are taxed, but I'll just answer it for all of them. An LLC that's a single member LLC, that's a disregarded entity, meaning it doesn't file a separate tax return, is then the Schedule C filer, so of course they can't pay themselves wages or their spouse. If you're a partnership, you can't pay yourself wages. If you're an S Corp, you're required to pay yourself wages. If you're a C Corp, they want you to pay yourself wages, just not too much. So the answer is, if you're an LLC taxed as an S Corp, if you look at your separate tax return at the top left, if it says 1120S, that's S Corp. 1120, it's a C Corp. Those you can pay wages. With PPP, if that's part of the question, the only wages you can include, though, as an owner are based on the wages that you actually paid yourself in 19. So you wouldn't be able to create new wages for PPP purposes.
Maureen, can I give hazard pay bonuses to my employees?
You know, at first I thought no, but yes, you can. I think that it needs to be probably within reason and not being cheeky about it. That would just be my own dose of coach in it. So it doesn't sound like you're doing it to run a scam. But what I would say though is that the math won't work out for itself if you and I'm not saying you did this, but the math won't work out if you kick 2 employees off the boat and then gave raises and bonuses to the other employees. But I bet you're doing it because of true hazard pay. They're probably employees that have stepped up, and you can, within reason. The only thing to note though is that your PPP forgiveness, first of all, the loan is what determines everything for starters, which is it's last year's payroll. It's the last 12 months of payroll divided by 12 times 2.5. There were a number of employees that were involved with that. PPP does look at each employee when you're doing the application to see if some employees got paid less. So all I'm saying is you can pay more to others, but if it's at the cost of less to others, it won't work. The math just simply won't work itself out. But SBA did say that bonuses that are regularly paid and that they would be mirroring last year and hazard pay can qualify, but at the same time, you'd want to be careful of the math. All right, what else we got? And if you're late, on Fridays, we also turn this into happy hour. Join us. We're getting ready to sign off because I've got to go do some tax returns and get some clients. I am enjoying some Johnny Walker Blue because this is such a special occasion to be with you. And then we always have a word of the day. Today it's blue tops. Blue tops meaning tax returns. And we want to get some blue tops out.
Yep, and that is it. And Carol, give her a big shout out because her first grandbaby is due tomorrow.
First grandbaby due tomorrow. Congratulations to that. We look forward to on Monday hearing what the grandbaby came out as and the name.
That's right.
And we look forward to, we're going to get some pictures maybe this weekend from Glenda.
Yes.
Her granddaughter Leah. They put together the most precious set. They created a set of the JJ the CPA home office set. And anyways, they are true fans.
Yes.
So I'm just showing you all, this is the beautiful view. It was not this case earlier.
It was dark.
It was raining, cats and dogs. So, all right, well listen, Deborah, thank you for coming on, and everybody for joining us today. I hope you have a great weekend. I'll be working all weekend. I'll probably put out a few videos. Right now, most likely, we will not be live Monday only because of the deadline. It's going to kill me if we're not live. So stay tuned. We may go live for just a short period of time. It depends on how much work I can get done. This weekend, I was up at 4 a.m. I'm working hard for you, working hard for my clients because I love it. And I really appreciate you all. And if we don't go live on Friday, then if we don't go live on Monday, then we'll go live longer on Friday. Yeah. So, all right. Well, hey, listen, thank you so much, everybody. Hey, Carol, what's going on? And let's see. Oh, it was Carol. Like the Carol.
The Carol.
The Carol.
Not saying that it's going to come tomorrow, but
okay, gotcha. Well, that's going to go beautiful. And hopefully everything goes just as smooth as possible. No pun intended, but when a baby comes out, you want that to be smooth, I'm guessing. All right, well, hey, thank you, everybody. And Elizabeth and HLLC and Carol, thank you again, too, for always helping in the comments when we can't get to them quickly. We really appreciate that. You are always on point. And let's see. Yeah, Saudersburg Motel. Great to see you. Stacy, thanks for coming on. And CJ. And Jean, all right, yeah, get back to work. I love it. Coach and Amanda is the professional, thanks to Jean McIntyre. And Patty B, so good to see you. And Blue Line, thanks for coming on. And Deborah and Siong and Patty B, Valerie Clark.
And Andrew Zach, who got his mask today. So Andrew, make
Oh.
sure that you send us a picture of that.
I
And
love
thank
it.
you, Fred and Coach's Pit Barbecue. We love you guys. Cindy, we love you.
And Deborah and Cinnamon Rush, thank you so much. And Kathy, great to see you. Thanks for coming on. And yes, Andrew, I really appreciate it.
Blue Line Tax and Accounting, have a wonderful weekend. Linda, have a great weekend. I look forward to seeing you and Leah.
All right. Hey, Mike, you take care as well. And good luck over the weekend. I know you and I will be putting in a lot of hours, probably at least a week's worth. And Sharon, thank you so much for that.
Modus, thank you. And Mary, I will make sure that he takes some breaks this weekend.
Well, thank you for that. CJ, you have a great weekend as well. Fred, you bet. Always appreciate you. And Vandal 18.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you for being on.
And Miss Elizabeth, it's so nice to see you on.
And Cindy made it for the whole show.
Yep.
I really appreciate that and look forward to reconnecting, Cindy. You're not alone, that I have had so much going on, and I appreciate your patience, and I can't wait to get caught up and dive into some things, and I hope things are going well, and I'm sorry we're not going to see you on Sunday. And we've got Modus and Mary Cooper, so good to see you. Coach's Pit Barbecue, thank you so much. Barbara, thank you. I really appreciate that. Mike, we got to get some we've got to get some clones. Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. Pedal Spin Studio. All right. Appreciate you all. Thank you so much. Blue Tops, enjoy your Friday evening. Take a deep breath. Enjoy your weekend. We appreciate you so much. Thank you for being on. Thank you for watching the videos. And check out, go to jjthecpa.com for some merch. And hey, if you didn't know this, go to iTunes, and you can put in JJ the CPA. You're going to find my podcast, and that's not what I'm talking about, even though check out my podcast. I have a song on iTunes. I've had it up there for a while. It's 2.5 minutes. I helped write it. I've got a Masterminds 2009 put it together. It's my 17-year-old son says it's legit. You got it on Apple Music, which if you have that, it's free. Otherwise, it's 99 cents. So go check it out. That's right. Glenda says, you've never met a CPA quite like me. Thanks, Glenda. All right, talk to you all soon. Thanks, Linda.